Virginia, there's such a legacy of AmeriCorps service. And I thought I'd give you some highlights. Just last year in Virginia, more than 3,800 of your fellow citizens of all ages and backgrounds united to meet local needs that strengthen communities and expand opportunities through national service across the great Commonwealth of Virginia. AmeriCorps, our federal partner, invested more than $11 million in federal funding to support these cost-effective community solutions. And working hand in hand with local partners, we've been able to empower individuals like you to help communities tackle their toughest challenges. And so you're part of a long legacy, and we're looking forward to your year ahead. You know, AmeriCorps members and AmeriCorps senior volunteers across the Commonwealth served last year at over 400 locations. So we're living a bit more in a virtual world. We're getting back into face-to-face service, but keep in mind that where you serve, you're one of over 400 locations across the Commonwealth that includes schools and food banks and homeless shelters and health clinics and youth-based organizations. And so always keep in mind that you may feel as though you're working at the tip of the spear where you're located, but you're part of a huge family that we hope to bring together throughout the year that serves in these 400 plus locations. You know, this is a very unique public-private partnership from the federal level down to the state level, and even at the community level and with our nonprofit partners. And together they generated almost $6 million last year to match that federal investment to support your service and to do the great work that you're about to embark on across the Commonwealth. You know, when you talk about the motivation to serve, and I think this morning we're going to ask you what motivated you, why you're here. We want to get your energy glowing today and really start to build that enthusiasm for your service year ahead. But one of the real significant benefits you get as a member serving in AmeriCorps is the Siegel Education Award. And after successful completion of your service, you'll earn a Siegel AmeriCorps Education Award that will pay for qualified educational costs. And since AmeriCorps started in 1994, over 21,000 Virginia residents have served approximately 33 million hours and earned their education awards that totaled more than $77 million. And so it's not insignificant, the kind of driver that AmeriCorps has been to not only serve the needs of communities across the Commonwealth, but to help people pursue their higher educational goals. And certainly the higher education institutions, whether that's a 4-year or a 2-year institution across Virginia, they've received over $26 million in education awards payments since 1994. So we believe AmeriCorps works. It not only does great things in communities across the Commonwealth, it also provides benefits to members to help them pursue and achieve their educational goals. But we hope to hear today from you about why you're motivated to serve, what about AmeriCorps excites you. But we want to start the year by simply saying thank you for your service. You'll be spending many cycles of your period of service throughout the year, being enthusiastic, wondering why you did it, seeing the difference that it makes for the people that you serve. But again and again and again, we hope you come back to the notion that Virginia thanks you for your service. And those of us at the Virginia Service Commission are really grateful that you're taking this time at whatever stage of life you're in, whatever situation that you're in, that you're taking the time to serve others and to do great things that will make tremendous difference in the lives of the people that you serve. So we're just really grateful, and we're excited for this launch party. We're thrilled. You know, the Virginia Service Commission works with the institutions where you will be serving. We provide the grant funding in partnership with AmeriCorps. We're the state entity that administers those grants, but really it's the organizations that are hosting the AmeriCorps members and have received these AmeriCorps funds to have you engaged in their work to make an even greater difference that we're all so grateful for. So you'll have great mentors in the organizations that you work with. You'll have great friendships that you'll forge with the other AmeriCorps members that you'll meet along the way, whether you're serving directly with them or you meet them in the series of events and opportunities that may come throughout the year. But we just want to say thank you. We're grateful for your service. We're excited to see the contributions you're going to make in the year ahead. And we're here to help in whatever way we can. And so it really is my great privilege to serve as director of the Virginia Service Commission and to work with a team of professionals who have, in many cases, done this for over a period of many, many years. In other cases, they may be serving too. And so we have a great team at the Virginia Service Commission, and I'm really excited for them to share with you who they are, what their roles are, if they're an alum, or whether or not they're currently serving, and give you a chance to get to know the team at the Virginia Service Commission, because we're here behind the scenes helping to make sure that your service year will just be tremendous. So let me start off with Annalise.
Hi, everyone. My name is Annalise Gamble, and I'm an AmeriCorps alum serving here at the Virginia Service Commission, talking excitedly about volunteerism and service pretty much all the time. And so I'm really excited to be here with you today and getting to hear about your amazing service and all the different places from across Virginia that we're calling in from this morning. So I'll pass it off to Christina.
Hi, I'm Christina. I'm an AmeriCorps alum and also an AmeriCorps program officer here at the Commission. Welcome. I think Jay Young is next.
James Monroe High School.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Good morning. Great to be here. I'm an executive assistant for the Virginia Service Commission.
Good morning, everyone. This is Kimberly Brown, and welcome on this celebratory day of your AmeriCorps launch. I am not an AmeriCorps alum, but I wanted to be an AmeriCorps member. But I've been with the commission for quite a while, and welcome.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Samantha Lukashevitz. I'm the compliance officer here at the commission. I am an AmeriCorps alum. I did AmeriCorps Vista, 2010 to 2014 in Jonesville, Virginia, Lee County, and then for a couple of years in Roanoke, Virginia. So happy to be here.
And good morning, everyone. I'm Alex. I'm an AmeriCorps Vista member currently serving with the Virginia Service Commission. I've got about 2 months left in my Vista term, and then I'll be continuing full-time work with the Service Commission. I'm very excited to keep this work going and get to know all of you and your programs better.
Thanks, team, and I'll hand it over to Kimberly to get our next session started.
So I'm going to pop in real quick and just kind of amplify. We have an opportunity to serve as an AmeriCorps influencer. So I'd love to hear in the chat how many of you heard about your position through word of mouth. If you heard about AmeriCorps from a friend, from a family member, from a mentor, go ahead and throw that in the chat. We would love to work with you all to better kind of share the story of what AmeriCorps is like and what being an AmeriCorps member in Virginia is all about. So if you want to join our team of influencers, I will put a link in the chat where you can sign up and let me know that you're interested. And I'd be happy to connect with you more about what being an influencer can look like. And now I'll hand it off to Kim.
Thanks, Annalise. Good morning again. I have the pleasure of introducing our keynote speaker, Vanessa Diamond. Vanessa is the Senior Vice President of Civic Engagement for the community or at the Community Foundation for Greater Richmond. Vanessa also served as the co-director, co-founder and director of Hands On Greater Richmond. And Vanessa is also an AmeriCorps alum. Now let us give a huge AmeriCorps welcome to Vanessa Diamond.
Hi, am I good? Well, hello everyone. My name is Vanessa Diamond, as Kim said, and I will start off with a little disclaimer because I must. I'm on like the tail end of COVID, and I've been in bed for 7 days. You all are the first humans outside of my family that I think I've spoken to. I've like sat in on a couple calls on the backside. So I'm usually like very over the top energetic, and I still have a lot of energy, but I'm not my whole self. So I have some talking points I want to get through and not get there. Some talking points I want to offer up and bring to you guys, and then I'm going to facilitate the AmeriCorps alum panel. So I just wanted to give you a little snapshot of who I am. But I'm really excited to be here. And just a funny side note, my daughter, who was 13 today, was leaving the house, and she yelled down to me, "Mom, can you throw down my gray hoodie?" And I was like, "Your gray hoodie?" And I look, and over the banister is my AmeriCorps hoodie, which is 25 years old. So I did AmeriCorps 25 years ago. And I was like, "You did not earn that gray hoodie. That is my gray hoodie. I earned it." She goes, "Okay, but can I wear it today?" And I said, "Yes, you can wear it today." So my AmeriCorps hoodie, which is 25 years old, is now my daughter's literal, like she wears it every day to the point that it's kind of gross. But I love seeing that gray hoodie out in the world and knowing both that I earned it, but also that I am also now still, unbeknownst to me, my daughter is now an AmeriCorps ambassador. So you can sign her up, Annalise. Well, what I wanted to talk to you guys about today was really just the idea and the energy around service and around volunteerism and around civic engagement, because that is what this is all about. And yes, we are part of this national service movement, but it is so much more than that. It is not just a state or a nonprofit or a federal program, but it's really about what does it mean to show up in our community and choose to do something. And when I think about what you all are about to embark on in this journey, it's really a journey for yourself. It is a journey of what you're choosing to do with yourself, but it's also a journey that is about all of us, because community is all of us. We can choose to do whatever we want with our time, our life, our energy, but you're choosing to put it towards something. Often when we make our choices in life, it might be about money, it might be about notoriety or power. But when we choose to do something for others, it's really about like big love. It's about that universal love that is what binds us together. And every day when you're stepping out over this next year or 6 months, whatever crazy term of service you might be involved in, if it's a 675 or an 1150, I know there's all these different kind of frameworks, but every day those small actions that we take are really, I think, what aggregate ourselves into the true word of society, the true word of community. And I, obviously I'm still working in the service and nonprofit sector and have for the last 25 years. And I think about this a lot because often, particularly right now in our work, we're often asked, are we making a difference? What's the metric? What's the evaluation? How do we know that we're making a difference? And I think we know that we're making a difference when those tiny little things that we do every day begin to aggregate into something larger. And we begin to see that the relationships, the conversations, the child that we might be mentoring, and that is, their individual test score, the next child's individual test score begins to aggregate into something, then we can start to believe in that larger societal change, because it can be really hard to see it because it is so big. So let me get back to there. So I want to tell you a little bit about my AmeriCorps experience, because my AmeriCorps experience is really what helped change and challenge my whole trajectory. So I graduated college 25 years ago and moved to Oregon and did a 2-year AmeriCorps experience with Youth Volunteer Corps. I worked in schools. I helped develop service and initiatives to help youth figure out what their voice was, what was important to them. Our philosophy was really important to me then. It is really important to me now. And I think it is really central to what all civic and volunteerism engagement is that everybody has something to give, no matter their age, no matter what part of the world they come from, no matter what their gender identity is, their religion, their socioeconomic status, that they have something to give. And if they are a 12-year-old, they have something to give now, not for the future leader that they were going to be, but what is a 12-year-old experiencing in this world now? What do they want to see changed? Just like any one of you or anyone in your community has something to give back for who they are and what their life experiences need to offer them. So my AmeriCorps experience taught me so much. We had trainings and workshops and keynote speakers and discussion series and field trips. And after that, I moved to, after my experience with AmeriCorps, I moved to Richmond and I tried to volunteer for MLK Day, which many of you all will probably participate in an MLK Day experience. It's a seminal, vital part of what AmeriCorps is really honoring days of service and really recognizing kind of service heroes and conversations around how we as can come together in moments of service. And so if you don't know about MLK Day, you will probably have a project or an experience in January for MLK Day. There was no way for me to volunteer when I moved here for MLK Day. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, there's no way to volunteer. This is so strange. And I started having conversations with people as I had, moved here and I was working on my graduate degree. And I had a conversation with someone in a class and she said, well, let's start planning volunteer projects for people. And we did. And we planned a volunteer project, then we planned two, and then we were like, let's start a website, and then we had a database. And then the next thing we know, we had launched an organization. And that organization has now merged into Hands on Greater Richmond, which has merged into the Community Foundation. Last year, I think we engaged about 11,000 people. We run coalitions, we work with AmeriCorps, we work with national service partners, we work with corporations. So I tell you that because when I think back on what led me to be able to think that I had the ability or the talent to be able to launch this initiative, I didn't question it because I thought, if not me, then who? And I think that was the essence of what AmeriCorps taught me was, if not me, then who is going to do this? How do I ask the question? Not somebody else should be doing this. It was, I'm going to put this in front of myself as a challenge and I'm going to take that challenge on. And I think that motivation was one of the best gifts that AmeriCorps gave me that has really arced into my whole career and really pushed me forward. And I hope as you all navigate your AmeriCorps experience, you think about what are the things that are being put in front of you that either you take on as a challenge that are important to you to be part of that solution, or you find the people who have the talent, the resources to build the right partnerships, which is part of what we did. I didn't have all the talents and resources to be able to launch this initiative. I found 3 or 4 other people and we built a coalition to be able to do this. And I think that binding, that sense of AmeriCorps is really what helped ground us into, if not me, then who? And then how do I build the right network of people that would allow me in that circle that we were building to launch this initiative forward and really create something not just for ourselves, but that has resonated and really created pathways of action for other people. And I think that's really when I think about AmeriCorps and I think about your term of service, it's that service is an amplifier. It's not just what you are doing in that moment. It's that influencer. It's the fact that you are doing something, you are taking a year of service. And when you tell someone about it, it's going to inspire them to think, if not me, then who? How are they going to take action? When you have a conversation with someone at a coffee shop and they ask you what you do, don't just tell them you're working in a school. Don't just tell them you're working at a nonprofit. Tell them you're doing a year of service because that means something bigger than, greater than, and that is what inspires other people towards their own truth and their own action and amplifies that same question of, if not me, then who? So I think when we talk about, have to say, after 2.5 years, I did not get COVID. I can't believe I got it this week on my birthday when I was supposed to talk to you all. I was supposed to go to my high school reunion, and now I get COVID. One of the things I really wanted to talk to you guys about, which is, Kathy spoke a lot about this, which is motivation. Like, what motivated you to be here? What drives you forward? And so in civic engagement work across the board, and you'll probably see this in work that comes through things that come through the commission. If you ever partner with our organization or the Community Foundation, you will see this come through, which is really trying to understand that civic engagement is really this combination of how any individual, any one of us, anyone in your network, from your grandmother to your niece, to your nephew, to your neighbor, to the post person down the street, any one of us shows up civically, as a civic engagement kind of actor, by really thinking about what's our knowledge, what's our skills, what's our values, what's our motivation, and how do we take all those things? How do we take the knowledge we have about the world or ideas, whether it's about housing or education or the environment or senior issues, any one of those issues, what's the knowledge we have? What skills do we have? What do I actually know how to do? Sometimes I wonder, like, what do I actually know how to do? What are my tactical skills? And like, what's really important to me? For me, is it stewardship? Is it responsibility? Is it faith? Is it my family? Is it loyalty? What are the things, what are the values that have been driving my decisions in my life and drive the decisions of my family? And then what's actually driving and motivating me? And how do you line all of those things up? So I'm gonna stop in like keynote, talking to you guys, and I'm gonna ask you all a couple questions, and you can put it in the chat, or you can get like a piece of paper and kind of write it down if you want. But I want you to really think about a couple of things. So I'm gonna ask a question, and I'm just gonna give you like 1 minute. So there's just gonna be a 1 minute pause. You can do it in marker, you can do it in crayon, I don't care. Weirdly, I actually still have some of these documents that I did when I was an AmeriCorps member 25 years ago, where it's like, I wrote, what did I think was important to me? So I'm going to start with values. So I'm going to give you 60 seconds and just write down a couple of the things that you think are your values. What are some of the things that are important to you? And it can be anything that you think is important to you. So I'm starting now. I'm using my watch. Go. I'm gonna give you like 10 more seconds. And if you want, I see a couple people are putting it up in the chat. You can put it into the chat. Some things that are your values. Honesty, family, being a blessing to others, integrity, growth, transparency, equality, kindness, compassion, integrity, positivity, family, exploration, kindness, right? Like, these are beautiful words. And when you really think about these words that people are putting up, these are I'm getting emotional, right? These are the things that drive us. These are the things that bring meaning to our lives. They bring meaning to our relationships. And when we are out of bounds with them, that is when we have tension. It's when we feel like we are out of sync with the world or out of sync with ourselves, when these things are challenged. So as you write them down in here, or if you wrote them down on a paper, kind of keep a hold of those, because those are the moments when you know when you have friction in your work or friction in your life or in society, or you see a public policy coming or a work policy or friction with a neighbor. Normally it's one of these things that are being tested. And we think about how we show up civically. This is normally the core of our decisions, to show up civically, or when we see something happening in society that we feel like is unjust, that we feel like is wrong, or is not being lived to its fullest, is normally when one of these values is being pressed upon. So kind of hold that steady, and then I want to jump into motivation. Because often our values is then what motivates us and drives us forward. We have this tension with our values, either being, we want to lift them up, we want to drive towards a value, or a value is being challenged. So now I'm going to give you guys a minute to talk about motivation. What is motivating you to show up to this experience, this journey, to be an AmeriCorps member, to take a year of service? You could have done other things. It could have been a different kind of job. It could have been, you know, all kinds of different pathways you could be taking right now. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to talk about what's really your core motivation. And it could be anything. It could be, I needed to build my resume. I needed the Ed Award because I want to go back to college. There's lots of different reasons our motivation drives us. And there might be more than one, and that's okay. 1 minute timer. All right, what's driving you? Okay, I love this one. All of the above. So I see a lot of motivation of like family, like a specific family member motivated them, either because they wanted to inspire them or support them or honor them, I would guess. How do you show up for other people? Wanting to learn something new. Knowing that you've had an experience and wanting to help someone else's path be a little bit easier. Or remove some barriers in front of someone else, maybe barriers that you faced in your life that you think maybe shouldn't be there. There's an injustice or a lack of access or resources. Instinct, it just felt right. Sometimes you just have this gut and you're like, this is what I want to do. That's actually how mine was. I saw the sign on my campus and I was like, I'm doing that. And here I am 25 years later, right? It was just this thing I knew that's what I want to do, you know, the minute I saw it. Kind of read it through here. Right. And I'm seeing a lot of this is like that moment. I like this. It's like, I love making a breakthrough with a child and with students that have been given up on in the past. Like that moment when you have that click, right? You know that you've made a difference. You see a light in someone's eye. You see a change in someone's life. You see, maybe it's, you know, if you're working with seniors and you walk in and that senior smiles, or a child finally figures out a math problem, right? So this is what it means to really understand what your values are grounding you, your motivations are driving you. And they're the things that will probably keep you going in the hard times. Because guess what? AmeriCorps is not easy. If it was easy, we wouldn't be doing it, right? AmeriCorps is our society's like project or movement to fill the gaps in for all the unmet needs in our community, to say, hey, we can't figure out how to solve this. Maybe we can be innovative and come up with, you know, some different ideas or initiatives or projects in these different communities and try something new and fill in the gaps to try to make progress in a part of a community or a part of our environment or society where we can't quite figure out how to move things forward. So when you have those moments when you're like, this is crazy, or this is terrible, I can't do this anymore, this is really stressful, try to remember what was motivating you, that you wanted to learn something new, that you wanted to see a spark in a child's eye, or you were doing this in honor of your family member or to inspire a family member, because those are the things I think that will get you through some of the hard parts of service. Because I'll tell you, I love the nonprofit sector. It is beautiful. I love doing social work, social like sector kind of change work. And it's hard some days. It's hard some days to feel like we are pushing society to do good. And we're trying to arc everyone to good. But when I think about all of these ideas of we're motivating ourselves for our families and our loved ones, and to see that sparkle in a child's eye, those are the things that will hop and make you forward. Make you move forward. Okay, so there's two more really important parts of civic engagement, volunteerism and service that are important as you think about how you're going to bring your whole self to your year. And the next one is knowledge. And so I'm going to give you 1 minute to think about knowledge. And I want you to think about two different things. What knowledge are you bringing? You know stuff already. You're not a blank slate. You have life experiences. You know things, you've seen things, you've experienced things, you've had moments in your life that have had aha moments for you. What's something that you are bringing to your AmeriCorps experience that you think is going to help shape your experience? And then what's one thing you want to learn about? All right, go. 1 minute timer.
1 minute counting down.
All right. So we're not blank slates, right? We're coming with knowledge. We're coming with energy or our personalities. We're coming with, I think what I'm seeing a little bit is not just creativity, but curiosity. Oh, can someone type that question? Our connection is spotty and we didn't understand. Did someone type the question for them yet? Annalise or Sam, would you guys type the question? I can't handle that too. I'd be like, thanks. Thanks, Sam. That's awesome. So as you think about this, know that you're not coming in as a clean slate. Know that you have your own life experiences and you've got knowledge, whether you are in the housing or environment or education, right? You all know things. You read the paper, you watch documentaries, you have your own lived experience about barriers or life experiences that help prevent you from getting either the education or the access that maybe you wanted, right? So you've got knowledge, but it's also important to have curiosity and humbleness, in a sense of your own, your experience is not there, the child's experience or the community's experience that you may or may not be in. So making sure that you're being really open to listening to that experience and learning and knowing when you need to step back and listen and knowing when you need to step in and ask some questions, because really that the knowledge so that you are not just a civic action agent, you're not just doing, but you're doing so from a place of informed humility. That is good service. That is community, because then you are not doing unto community, you are doing with community. You are doing, you are showing up with and in for. And I think that really does take, I think someone wrote that in there, it was just the idea of curiosity and humbleness. And I think the idea of really having informed action is such a powerful part of civic engagement and showing up in service. So I really hope as you're thinking through this, I know there's gonna be tons of trainings and workshops, and I know you all are all over the state, but really utilize this network. I know there's gonna be lots of opportunities for you all to get together, but you all have such different lived experiences, and there's people all over the state in this group right now. Can you imagine if you had time to have conversations with any one of the people in this group just to hear a little bit about their lives and their stories? It could be really incredible. So the last thing I'm gonna ask about is your skills. So what is like one really tactical thing that you want to learn how to do this year that you didn't know how to do before? What could that be? It could be how to run a meeting. It could be PowerPoint. It could be, I want to learn how to do an, environmental water analysis if you're on one of the environmental programs, or if you're in tutoring, someone was talking about they wanted to learn different kinds of tutoring methodology. What's one very specific skill? Oh my God, I want to learn my multiplication tables too. Really not good at those. So this is great, right? This is like, I think I basically just gave you guys your like plan for the year, right? So now you know, this is like here's a workshop or a training that you either need to ask for or find a YouTube video on, or AmeriCorps might already have specific trainings on it, whether it's different tutoring styles to Excel to public speaking, but like seek these things out. Because if I can ask you this and you can answer it in a minute, then you know already that this is something you want to do. So don't let it be that if I came back in a year that you haven't taken a workshop or a training and you didn't grab this skill. Because I will tell you, there are things that I know I do now in meetings, literally 25 years later, that I learned in meeting facilitation workshops that I did in AmeriCorps. I learned how to write things on the board and the size things they should be and how to set agendas. And I mean, there are things that you can grab now that will literally, you will build upon for the next, part of your next career. And if you know what they are right now, do not let this chat go by without writing it down and making sure that you build that into your development plan for the year. Because that is the gift that AmeriCorps gives you, is really thinking about not just what your values and your motivation are, how do you learn about things, and then helping you actually do good in the community, but really focused on who do you want to be next? What is your life after AmeriCorps, and how do you build the skill sets to make sure that you get there? So I hope you guys write these down on your own sheet of paper so that you think about, and then you have that in front of you, because you basically now say, this is what's motivating me. This is what's grounding me. This is what I want to know. And this is like a very specific skill that I want to learn as I arc into my next part of my year. So when I think about my AmeriCorps year, and this is before, I think I've got like 2 minutes left before I have to transition. I think about my year. You all might end up in lots of different places after this year. You might end up in public service. You might end up in theater. You might end up in government. You might end up in business. You might end up in the clergy. When I'm in contact with my friends from my AmeriCorps year, I have a friend in the opera. I have a friend who's a nurse practitioner. I have an AmeriCorps alum who's a lawyer. I mean, they are all over. But what they've taken with them is this sense of service. And they've integrated this sense of service into their lives in many different ways. It doesn't mean that you necessarily have to arc into, public service life, but you will take this sense of public service into whatever your next step is. And I think that's the most kind of compelling thing that I want to end and offer you all is really this power of service and what we do to harness this energy that you all have as you're stepping into this work. All the things that you know, all the things that were important to you that we talked about in the beginning, that is what binds us to each other. It's what's going to bind you and kind of arc you through this year. But it's what helps us show up actively every day. And I love that the AmeriCorps motto is like, we get things done, because it's so action oriented. It's not we think about it, we put a plan together, and we do all that too. There's so many plans and strategic things and evaluations and metrics, all of the bases of AmeriCorps, right? Your program staff have done an incredible job getting the AmeriCorps grant and everything together, but the essence of AmeriCorps is kind of getting it done. So every day this year, as you're getting it done, know that there's hundreds of other AmeriCorps members across the state also getting it done. And that us at the commission and the staff that work with you and the AmeriCorps alum, there's hundreds and hundreds of us all throughout the state, are also a part of that long thread of community with you. So I am here for the rest of the session. I think I'm actually leading the next panel, but I just am really excited for this journey you are about to embark on. And I hope you too, in 25 years, will have your daughter walk out of your house in your hoodie and you can tell her she also did not earn that. And I just wish you all the best of luck this year with much love and service. I'm not sure who I'm passing it back off to.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Vanessa. Like, I don't think I've ever heard you talk about your service before. So just really super inspirational and just incredible information and guidance that I think that really hits home to a lot of our members. So I just want to say thank you so much. I also wanted to tell everybody that another form of motivation is the playlist that we put together based off of all of your suggestions. So it's 75 songs that I think get you pumped up for service. So I'll make sure to share that after we're done in the follow-up. But I will just pass it back over to you, Vanessa. I'm going to change the slides, and I think the alum panel can probably introduce themselves as we go forward and talk about their own service and where they are in their careers. But I'll pass it back to you, Vanessa. Thank you again so much.
Okay, sorry, I was just opening up my notes for the panel. Okay, I'm back, everybody. Okay, so I love talking to AmeriCorps alum, right? Because I am one, I think it's amazing. And I love hearing both like what people's experience was during, but also kind of where are they arcing to now? And like, what did they learn? What was their motivation? What knowledge did they gain? What skills did they use? We can kind of focus in on a couple of those. We've got some questions for them. I do think we have time, is that right, Sam? For Q&A, right? Of the
Absolutely.
AmeriCorps alum?
Yep, totally.
Okay, okay, I want to make sure. I mean, like, I have the agenda in front of me, but I also have two screens open and I don't know what's going on. So we wanted to spend a couple minutes, if you all can screen up, which, will they screen up and you guys will pin it? Is that what's going to happen?
I think I can do that. I might not
If you
be able
guys
to.
screen up
It
and pin it, then they would end up being the 4 people on top. Is that right?
should work that way.
Okay.
Yep, I got you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to introduce the 4 AmeriCorps alum who are going to talk a little bit about their time of service. And if you guys got questions, you can drop them in the chat and I'll try to pull them up, or we'll create some opportunity for questions and answer. But I mean, these individuals have had, probably beautiful experiences and probably some hardships and probably some moments of doubt and probably some moments of celebration and some learning. And they've probably made some big mistakes and some like, I probably shouldn't have done that. And then they've probably had some things they're really proud of. And I think that is the mix match of any kind of real life experience. If you haven't made mistakes or you don't have some wonderings, then you probably weren't risking enough, is what I like to say. So with that, I think we're going to get them pinned up here, but if you all can introduce yourself, I think we'll start with Katie, since she's on the left of our picture. If you can unmute, and I think maybe if you unmute, they'll pin, I'll figure that part out.
Yeah, I'm Katie. Hi, everyone. I hope you all can hear me, but I'm assuming that you can. It's a
Katie,
Monday.
do you have the 4 things? It's like your name, what you're currently doing now, what your service role was, and
Mhm.
what did you do in your national service role?
Yeah, so let me pull that up so I'm not going crazy. Okay, so my name's Katie. I am currently a volunteer coordinator at the International Rescue Committee in Charlottesville. So the IRC is a refugee resettlement agency. And part of my role is I manage our intern programming and our AmeriCorps program. During my service year, I was in Birmingham, Alabama, serving state national program with an organization called Impact America. I think we get into this a little bit more, but essentially during that role, I was doing a million things, including a middle school debate program. So I was running that. I ran a Vita Tax site, and we did early intervention eye exams for children 6 months to 6 years. So a lot of random things, but I'm excited to talk about it with you all.